Welcome to Cyber Day 2019 Pre-Cal 12. It's Coach Jay with you. I am right now sitting in my chair the night before our Cyber Day, our snow/ice day, and sipping some coffee and enjoying the time of just kind of relaxing a little bit. And while I'm doing this, nothing better than to be able to do a podcast for y'all. Just a couple of heads up before you start this podcast. Make sure you post your review, and then also with your review, make sure that you also post this as well. Problems numbers 1 and 2, and at least you've started on it, and use this as a tool to just kind of help you with the specifics there. So, without further ado, let's get started. Let's go straight into we're straight into this part today, talking about degrees and lead coefficients and all of this. Let's just as a review, we remember that the degree would be the highest exponent. In this case, we know it would be 3, so we'll put degree of 3. The lead coefficient we know as being positive 1, so we know that. So we put that in, and once we plug that in, we notice that since it's odd and positive, it will rise to the right and fall left. Okay, rise right and fall left. All right, so we've got that here. Then we're going to list the possible zeros. Well, this is my last over my first. So what we can do is put 6 over 1. And what we can do is just say plus or minus the values of 1, 2, 3, and 6. And then it's all over the value of plus or minus 1. Okay? So since they're all over 1 here, we can just list them and just say, okay, this is plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, and then plus or minus 6. If we had multiple values like 2, we could put each of these over top of plus or minus 1 as well. Okay? All right, good. Now, the key is what are my zeros? And I can do this by simply plugging all of these into synthetic at random. So I could just kind of plug in the values in for here. Now, remember that with synthetic, we got to make sure it starts with a 1. We fill in the x squared. We go -7, and then we go our whole number, which would be positive 6 there. On the outside, let's start with -2. I'm guessing here. I think it was -2. I think -2 could work. Let's check it out. So we go bring down the 1. We multiply to get -2. We bring down the 2. Bring her down. -2 times -2 is 4. 4 plus -7 is -3. Oh, looky, looky, I've got a cookie. -2 times -3 is actually, that doesn't work. That actually doesn't work. So, because they can't cancel. I do not have a cookie. So let me backtrack here. Ooh, man, I messed that up. Let me see here. Ooh, man. All right. Well, let's go back and erase that. I don't know why that wasn't working. Let's try +2, 1, 0, -7, +6. Bring down the 1. We get a 2. Add 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4. Oh, let me do. Is it negative? It's negative. Oh no. Here we go. -3. -3 times -2 is -6. We combine to get 0. Oh, looky, looky. I've got a cookie. And this right here goes straight into x squared plus 2x minus 3. I'm having too much fun. This is good. Since the remainder is 0, we know that this is one of our solutions. And so we could go over here at 2 and just put a dot there. And what we can do is just simply factor and say what two numbers multiplied get me -3, but when added get me 2. And I could get +3 and -1. And basically, if you set these equal to 0, we would get x is equal to -3, 1. Here, I'll go -3 and 1. And then obviously 2 as well. But remember, it rises right and falls left. So as we do this, we can know that this is actually going to, from this last 0, rise right. And with this, for this left 0, it's actually going to fall left. Okay? The question, though, is because each of these are only one time here, we know that They'll each have a multiplicity of 0, which tells me that, of 1. Therefore, it's going to go through. So it goes through. Okay. So good, we're going to go through. And so it's probably going to come up, down, and back up again. So just as a little T-chart here, let's just plug in a couple values, see where it's at, see what we can get out. Maybe like 1.5. That might be good. So let's plug in like 1.5. And then over here between -3 and 1, let's plug in -1 here. Okay? So -1 to the third is -1. -1 times -7 is +7. Plus 6 is 13 minus 1 is 12. So this right up here would go about upwards to 12. So it's about right up in here. Okay? Up in here, up in here. Okay? And we know it's going to come back down. But since this is in the middle, we know that that'll be our highest value. The question is as we graph this, and it should be kind of fluid. It shouldn't be kind of goes back, but you get the idea. We're trying to kind of go through here. The question is how low can you go? Okay, so 1.5 to the third. Kind of do this here. So come over here. So here we go. 1.5 to the third. Minus 7 times 1.5 and plus 6. I got -1.125. So -1.125. So about -1-ish, a little lower. So it goes here and then right back up again. It kind of continues. So that would be the graph of this value right here after all of the characteristics. The next one has a degree of 3. Again, if you haven't done this yet, pause this and at least attempt it. So we have a degree of 3, lead coefficient of, that's positive, and it's +2, but we just need to know that it's positive. This also will rise to the right, fall left, mainly because it's positive odd. The possible zeros, a little different here. Last over first, so this would be 10 over 2. So the possible zeros are plus or minus 1 on the top, 2, 5, and 10. And this is all over 1 and 2, plus or minus on all these, okay? So as we do this, a little different because of the fact that we have 2 different values on the bottom, we'll do 1 over 1, 2 over 1, 5 over 1, 10 over 1. So we should have 1, 2, 5, and 10. Then we do all over 2. So 1 over 2, 1/2. 2 over 2 is still 1, so we're already good there. 5 over 2, and 10 over 2, which is 5, which, again, we've already got. So we've gotten all of the possibilities here. Now let's plug them into our zeros. And no, I don't think we have any values that we have to plug in with the zeros. So we've got this here. So we've got 1, value of 1 here. And let's just plug in and go. So we got 2, multiply to get 2. -13 times 1 is -13. We got 14. And there we go. So this actually does not equal 0, right? All right, good. Backtrack. Kind of plug this in again. So 1 is not good. Let's go -1, just trying something different. 2 times -1 is -2. -17. And again, when I do this, I'm literally doing it with you. And I notice that this is going to be bigger than the -10, so that doesn't work. And so just to show you that this is in fact true, we're just going to go -2. So this one's gone. So as we try this, we're just literally plugging in and just trying some different things out. Okay? Yeah, this is going to be way bigger. Okay, so we're going to get that 2 out of there. Make this maybe +2. Same thing, bring down the first, multiply, and you kind of start getting decent at it. 5 times 2 is, oh, looky. There we are right there. That's the victory horn. The victory horn. We got 2 right there on the podcast. Right there, we got it. So now we've got left over just so you've got this here, 2x squared minus 11x plus 5. Those of you who do divide and slide, I think you've converted me here. We're going to divide and slide, so we're going to take this over and multiply it to get, we try to rewrite this to x squared minus 11x plus 10. And then we just simply factor this. So what two numbers multiplied to get me 10 added equal negative 11? That would be x minus 10 and x minus 1. Remember then, once we have that 2, we divide this by 2. Divide this by 2 to get me, this would be x minus 5, right? Because this was the a, so we can't just leave it like that. So we would have it as x minus 5. And because this 2's here and it doesn't go in evenly, we just connect it with x here and say it's 2x minus 1. So when we set this equal to 0, we should get 5 and 1/2. So 3, 4, 5 and 1/2. Boom. Okay. Okay. So again, coming back to graphing, we're going to rise furthest right. It's going to rise. On the left, we're going to fall. Okay. It's going to look similar, just maybe not as high. We want a value that's somewhere in between here. So one thing you could do, I'm actually going to show you this, just so that you could maybe use this on the test. So you can actually find this maybe helpful for you. Have a sip of coffee here. I like that horn, by the way. Whenever we do something good, we can just do the victory horn. The victory horn. Yeah, the things we come up with on this podcast. Man, I hope you're having as good of a time as I am. No matter whether we're at school or whether we're not. Alrighty, here we go. I want you to just simply plug this in. I just wanted you to see this. You don't have to do it this way, but let's say you wanted a t-chart from this and you just want to do 2x to the third minus 15x squared plus 27x minus 10. Let's go to second graph, or that table. And what you can do is actually scroll down and see the t-chart here, already here for you. So like, let's say that I was trying to, like maybe at 1 might be kind of good. So like 1, 4 would go up all the way over here. It's not perfectly in the middle, it'd probably go a little higher. But you get that idea. Over here, when you have 1, 2, 3, let's see here. 3 is negative 10. So that would be like all the way down here. 4 would be negative 14. And then 5 would be 0. So basically, when we're looking at this, and I'll kind of write this on here. So I got 1 is 4, so kind of over here. So this goes down to negative 10. I don't think I can quite go. Let me go that low right here. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4 would be, was 4 negative 14? Yeah, well, that's really low. So that's actually way down here, right? So it kind of comes down and then back up again at 5. Yeah, so it's kind of different. So this one kind of goes up, and this actually should be connected right here. Boom, comes down. It's down low here. Keeps going, and then kind of comes all the way back up right here. Cool. And again, this probably should be more like, sorry, I'm trying to do it on this tablet. Maybe not like this, but more this way. I know it's not the cleanest, and really, to be honest, you won't be graded on cleanliness. More like, did you hit these? And go from there. All right, one last trumpet. I want one last trumpet from you. In 5, 4, everybody, 3, 2, that's it for Cyber Day. Post this, check it with me, and have a great day. We'll see y'all later. Bye.